That's, they'll do whatever a normal school district does.
We didn't know, I
which
think we're getting there.
is decide on
Nope.
things that
Got more time.
they may decide not to have, right? And Tom's response was also increased revenue. So I'd be curious about those. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I'd love one, thanks.
Do you want one?
So are we, is open comment still going? Or open question and answer still going? Okay. I've got a question. Can we, I'm curious about the increased revenue comment. Does that mean, as I assume it does, but I'd like to ask, does that mean that you are pursuing more grants? And if so, can we have any idea of who you're going to pursue them from? And do those grants require board approval? Whether in any way?
You know, we're not gonna talk about our plans, but a grant would require board approval if there are conditions in the grant. People give us money all the time, and as long as there's no strings attached, there's no reason for approval, only when there are conditions, like there were with the Walton Foundation. There weren't conditions, it was a reporting requirement. So that was something additional. The district would have to do the school. So other than that, there's no need to approve money people give us.
Early stories. Not the official board meeting, this is just the open question and answer.
So a comment I was looking for the start time for tonight's meeting, and the agenda is different than what's on the calendar.
It says 8.
Or 8, sorry, yes, the agenda says 8, the calendar on the events section of the website says
That was
7:30.
an error.
Yeah,
The
just-
legal notice is what's in your hand there.
Just let you know that it's gonna create confusion for folks.
Yeah, we'll try to fix that going forward. Usually it's 7:30, that's right.
Start a little later.
Did I end up with an agenda? Yes. Thank you. I don't know if this is going to be talked about, but there's been a lot of community discussion, let's just say, around potential new residency requirements that the district is, I don't know, using. Are you guys going to be doing that?
No, our residency agreement with the district, we don't have any, aside from the lease we have for the space, we have no reason, there's no reason for us to follow any of the district's policies. But in our facilities use agreement, we agreed to use what was last year's district policy. And we are doing that. They subsequently, after we reached agreed and executed an agreement, a month later, they came up with a new residency form. That has nothing to do with us or our agreement with them.
And in fact, that form, I've seen it change at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, the final one came out, the one, they sent us one the day we signed the agreement. That form, they're not using.
That one, like, was 5 pages long.
They finally, I think around September 7th, they sent us one that was final and they posted on the website, which is the new form, the new process. It doesn't have anything to do with us, because it doesn't have anything to do with the agreement we signed.
Okay.
Although they continue to ask us to follow their current policy, their new policy for no, without any basis, in our opinion.
Well, would there be any reason not to? I mean, isn't it supposed to be a more thorough reporting system that is based only in public information, not in anything else? Wouldn't that clear up any potential issues that there might be? Like, would there be any reason for you not to use it?
Yeah, the only reason to have a form in the first place is because we agreed to do it under the lease. And, you know, we started collecting those forms in the middle of August, or the beginning of school. So for us to go back and redo it, plus there are things in that form which we find objectionable. I mean, I don't know what made, I don't remember what made the final cut, but for example, they wanted, if there was a divorce, they required parents to file the custody arrangements. We find that very distasteful, and not something we want to subject our parents to. That's a for example. In the form they sent us, there was a tip line. If you think there's fraud being committed, please call this line. You know, the feeling of the form is certainly the first form, which got softened as time went on. It feels like they're treating their students, their families, as if they're potential criminals. So it's just, the whole tone of it is not something that we feel is part of our culture.
Were we using the form that was fine for them to use last year, and we agreed to use that, and that's what we're moving forward with.
And the understanding all along in the discussions was that was the form we were agreeing to, and that's the form that people were asking us to go along with, and the one we were happy to go along with. And for the district to change it multiple times since then, we don't know how, if they're gonna change it again next month.
It's just, you know, once you reach an agreement, it's done. Next year we'll have a new conversation.
Interesting.
I'd like to comment about your ITE forms. There's also been a lot of social media discussion about it.
The what?
Your ITE forms.
Intent to enroll form?
So I'd like to comment about what I've seen online. I've seen on Facebook this phrase and similar, click here to signal interest. And then the link goes directly to your ITE form online. To me, this is deliberately vague and disingenuous. Perhaps your online marketing person can use clear language for signing your intention forms. Sorry, I hate public speaking and I get nervous. Some suggestions I offer to you free of charge. For your tours, the headline above could be, sign up for a tour, and then you add the link to that form. To receive more information about your program or your school, you could say, sign up for a brochure, and then have a link to that form. To enroll your child in RBC, perhaps you could say, if you are meaningfully interested in enrolling your child in our school, then link to the IT form. Just to make it clear.
That's the language on the form, like when you look at it, that it says
To
that.
say that you are interested, or to signal an interest, and
Yeah,
then
but
link to an enrollment form.
If you read the form, it's very clear. I mean,
But you are not being.
Oh, you know, if you wanna run a market, you're gonna have a school and
I
have a
will offer
marketing campaign.
my copywriting services, because you are not doing it. And so there is a huge difference between being interested in your program and learning more, and for enrolling. It's as simple as that. So I ask that you guys be transparent in your requests.
It's not enrollment.
It's an intent to enroll, meaning you are interested in the school and you're hoping to enroll your child there. It's not if you're interested.
It's actually
Learning more.
meaningfully interested.
Look,
Anyway.
this is a question and answer session. It's not set up for speech making and commentary, and we just disagree. You know, we are out there marketing our school, and we're doing it the best way we know how, and we're gonna continue to do that. You don't like the way we're marketing, that's fine. Nobody's asking you to attend our school.
Do you,
When am I allowed to make a comment? Because I have another comment from a community member regarding this very
You
subject.
know, this is a question and answer period.
Okay, I'll
do you,
wait.
I have a question, and do you intend to go
You
back?
could, there's at the beginning of the meeting,
I will.
There
I
is
will wait
public
for that
comment.
session then. We'll wait.
I have a question regarding the enrollment. Given that your enrollment is, and I guess we're getting a report out from October 12th this evening, but it looked like there's, as far as in-district students go, there's about, is it 22 or so short from the 144 projected? I just would like to know when you intend to notify the district of over-allocation.
well, actually, you should go read the regulations.
I have.
Okay, and what do they say?
It says when the school knows that they are over-enrolled, they need to notify the district.
And what is the definition of over-allocation?
You receive more space than you have students for.
No, that's not what it is.
Well, then,
Do tell
please
us
do
what
tell
it
me.
is.
It's,
like that.
if you have more than,
It's 10% or 15.
if you have, more than 24 fewer ADA than you projected, that is when that section can come into effect.
Where does the 24 number come from?
It's actually 10% or 15 or 15 students, whichever number is greater.
No, it's 24.
Well, if it's 10%, then that would be, on 144, it would be what, 14 students?
Yeah,
Which is less than 20.
it's 10% or 24, whichever number is greater. ADA. And as you just said, 22 is less than 20, 22 is first of all enrollment, not ADA. So the ADA numbers are smaller.
About 0.9 times.
Yeah, but that, it's actually immaterial. It's like, the ADA number is 137. Based on
Of the district.
Of in-district, yes. Our ADA projection is 137.
On a similar subject, to do with enrollment, because I think we have another half a minute. When you, there's a minimum number that you have to be in compliance with the MOU, I believe it is. And what's that number? Because I don't think we're at that.
Well, that's between us and the State Board of Education, and at this point, our oversight. And at this point, they are satisfied with our enrollment.
We regularly report to them enrollment, so.
But wasn't there-
Concerns about it, they'll let us know.
Okay. But wasn't there, I mean, honestly, wasn't there an exchange of letters from them saying you're not at your numbers, tell us what your plan is? And there's a minimum number, is there not, of students?
Well,
What is that number?
well, in the MOU, there is from the MOU, you can calculate a number, but they are not managing to that number. So, that they are not asking, and what the requirement is to come back and do a material review. They're asking us, they're telling us that they do not want us to do a material review, we don't need to do a material review for that purpose.
And their interest is in seeing how we're growing towards that number. And if you look at us last year, at the beginning of the year, we started with about 122 kids. This year, we started with about 150-something kids. So their interest is in seeing us grow to what we're approved for.
Over an indefinite amount of
Over
time?
our 5-year charter.
Over 5 years. Interesting.
And if you look at your typical charter school, they don't often start with that number, their maximum number.
We're just having our question and answer time, so.
one more chair.
Any other questions quick before we call a meeting to order? Let's see what time it is really. Okay. Let's start over. It's 8:00. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Okay, the first item on our agenda is our trustee roll call. Christie is absent. John?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
Sharon here. Sonia? Okay. Great. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda of this evening's meeting. Do I hear any motion for approval of this evening?
to approve.
Okay. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The next section of our agenda is just a review of our meeting norms and our procedural guidelines. Is anyone brand new to the meeting tonight? I think everybody, okay. So basically, we're trying to set up our norms and our protocols so that everyone has an opportunity to be able to hear and participate in the meeting without disrupting other people and making sure that we can conduct our business that we need to get taken care of tonight. So if you have any questions about any of the norms or guidelines, let us know. So the next item on the agenda is the public comment on items not on the agenda. So this is the opportunity for people to comment to items that are not on the agenda. So I see 2 hands up. Anyone else? No? 3? Okay. That's it? Okay.
I'd like to talk about another issue about the ITE forms.
And maybe I'll just remind people, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
My name's Lauren Sandusky. I'm a Manor parent.
Okay.
This is a conversation that I had with a community member named James. I believe his last name is pronounced Shu, who offered me this account regarding his experience with RBC parents that approached him. So this is what screenshot of what he sent me. The RBC parents that approached me told me half-truths. Yes, it is true that my completion of the ITE form would be used to secure physical space from the district for my child to attend RBC, but in the case that I chose not to enroll my child at RBC, the whole truth is that the space would not be given back to White Hill Middle School. True, they told me it's a non-binding form, but the whole truth is that it has real consequences with respect to physical space allocated to RBC and taken from White Hill. I find the approach by RBC parents disappointing and unethical. Thanks again, James. That's just a community member's take on what's happening. That's all.
Thank you. Heather?
Okay. Jim, are you sure you've got the camera on?
Get the camera on?
Great, I'll look forward to seeing it on your site. So good evening, everybody. This will be 3 minutes, don't worry. Andrea Summits once sat across a table from me years ago and attempted to paint a picture for me. In it, the existence of your charter would help the district in innumerable fuzzy ways, and that a little competition would be good for everyone. So I'm wondering where that vision went, because instead, what I see is that we have this occupation of our middle school, hundreds of thousands of dollars in man-hours spent by this district catering to you and setting you up here in a space that is, I believe, over-allocated for your under-enrolled school, and a space that our whole community needs, not just the few. Our community has lost this valuable facility for our 6th grade students, and yet we continue to get multiple lawsuits from you demanding yet more. Lawsuits, I might remind the room, that are paid for by the deep pockets of the CCSA, who essentially are a group of extreme right-wing billionaire privatizers. They are. In fact, it's important to know that this charter and most of the laws behind it have been paid for by these same right-wing billionaire privatizers, because big money gets what big money wants. This charter is Goliath. Yet interestingly, you are a Goliath that constantly cries victim. Do you honestly not see that the system is set up in your favor? I mean, really? Probably you do see it though, and it's just inconvenient because it can't possibly be part of your narrative. So it's better to pretend you're the underdog. So it strikes me that you are here in a way that's remarkably similar to how Brett Kavanaugh got his new seat. He's legally there, for sure, but only through a twisted, favoritist, right-wing driven legal system. And is it right? Nope. Is it moral? Nope, absolutely not. We have a collective responsibility as citizens to take care of each other and to take care of our children. Squandering our resources on these hateful lawsuits of yours and on this redundant administration and on the occupation of a facility that our 6th grade students need is not responsible. Going door to door and accosting parents with children in the streets, like I've heard about, all in an attempt to gather ITE forms, is also not moral, in my opinion. So please, drop your lawsuits, and as I say every time I come here, drop Prop 39. You guys are supposed to be creative, outside of the box thinkers, so figure it out some other way and stop taking from the rest of us. Help restore this community and don't keep ripping it apart. Something else that's completely obvious to point out just while I'm here, I'm a socialist. I stand in support of public schools and in support of the public commons across this nation and for equal opportunity for all. I'm a devoted volunteer and supporter of this district and all its students. So it's bizarre to me how many of you tried to make me personally out as an enemy. But whatever, sure, Luke can send me as many emails as he likes, and Jim Collier and his vicious and simultaneously absurd hate site can also keep having at it. I will not stand down. I will keep doing all I can to support this whole community and all of its students. This is the tragedy of the commons, to use a term from social science. This charter has single-handedly brought this tragedy into Fairfax and the Ross Valley. This charter is a small group of individual users who are, quote, acting independently according to their own self-interest and behaving contrary to the common good of all users, end quote. This is a shared resource system here on this earth and in this country, and it is definitely a limited resource system. So please, stop taking so much from the rest of us and stop hurting this community and stop hurting our children. Thank you.
Jen?
I'm Jen Wolf. I'm a parent at RVC. I'm also an employee, so perhaps I don't have, to put on my parent hat here. I see in many ways the way that the school can change a kid's life and change a parent's life. And I want to commend the staff and the teachers and the board in helping support these families and these kids. I think that's the big picture that I think I would like the community to carry away, and to say that we're doing something that may have unintended consequences. I understand that point of view. A lot of us understand that point of view. We're not doing this blindly. But when you say that we're accosting parents in the community, I mean, I've seen you do the same thing, handing out your flyers.
That's not a costume, but
Well,
okay.
you're, but still, let's just say, you know, we're all doing things passionately, and I understand your point of view, but, you know, lawsuits are because people won't talk to us, and I think all of us should talk to each other more than just have our points of view. And that's what I want to say, though. I really want everybody here to know that we all have different points of view and we have different ways of getting there. But I would like to see more attention to that. And that's just how I would like to go forward. So whatever ways we can do that,
Sure.
I would love to have more of that. But I do see the contributions that happen here at this school as a parent and as a person who deals with all these families. So I just want you to know that ultimately, some of these kids are gonna go to White Hill. My older daughter is going to White Hill now, and I think she was very well prepared by going here. And we should serve those families as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jane Nieves. I'm a Ross Valley School District parent. My son goes to Brookside, he's in 4th grade, and I'm currently teaching the 2nd and 3rd grade class here at RVC. I served for 5 years in the district as the TK teacher, and enjoyed the experience. I met a lot of wonderful teachers that I'm also now working with, and a lot of other wonderful teachers that my son has had over the years. And I guess what I just want to say is I sort of feel like, I walk into every one of these rooms. I had 102 TKers in the district over the years. Happy families, moved on, blood, sweat, and tears over there, I gotta tell you. And I walk into these classrooms, and what I know is that there's a large percentage, almost entire percentage of ADA students, and they are our district children. They are housed in this facility. So when I come here as a teacher, and I walk into a room, I see my students. I see the children. I worked in another town, at a school, and in that same town, there was a school that was also a charter. I did not know that there was a charter school in that town. There were not signs, there were not those kinds of things, and they had a lot of arguments for many years. They argued in boardrooms and they argued in courtrooms, is where they argued. But the kids, to my knowledge, did not have any real insight on what was going on. And it's very apparent in this community. My husband's also a government employee, I'm a public school teacher. We've done our very best to squeeze ourselves into San Anselmo so our son could be in this community. And it's just sort of mind-blowing to me that this is happening in front of the children. And I guess that's just, for everything. And I completely understand facilities and allocation. I completely understand logistics. I completely understand finances. And I also know that when the district offers a extremely challenging or unfair and unusable space, that now they have to maybe go back to court, and not always, in total agreement. I've had my mixed feelings all along the way. But I'm furious that the district would offer something where now they have to go and deal with either a complaint, because there's no way for this school to utilize that space in a safe and child-approached way. There's no way to bus special needs kids during the day when all of these kids are housed in our classrooms. Here, they do actually make sure that all kids are taught in the classrooms, and they get pulled out for a certain period of time. So when I heard that that space was offered as a Ross Valley School District parent, I was infuriated. I'm like, what? So now you just want to go back to court? We can't, or RVC cannot not use the space, because that wouldn't be right. They can't use the space because it doesn't work for kids. So we were left with no option but to either, follow some sort of more procedural way to find another space or make it work. It doesn't work. But I see that as a teacher, because I'm here, and I know the amount of space they have. And unless, they share my classroom while I'm in it, there's no other space. So what I'm saying is, as a district parent, I was infuriated, by that extra time, because my son is, also affected by here. But my son is affected by other children in the district. These are children in the district. That's what he's affected by. So that's okay. Because when he grows up, people in his community are gonna affect him all the time. And the things that happen here around this district, and dare I say, because I've worked in places where we didn't have like copy machines for everybody, or luxury. These are all good schools here. They are magnificent. But that this is being brought to our kids, that there's a sign when I drive up. I don't care what you guys say to me. I said, anyone who had a question when I moved over here, come and talk to me. Come and talk to me, I will tell you why. With a great love still for Ben's school. So I am on both sides of the fence, and if anybody wants to ask me some questions about maybe why that move happened, or maybe why I'm here, or what I think of this school in comparison to schools and in a district where I worked not only at Wade Thomas, but also at Brookside for 4 years, come and talk to me. I am available to you. But this is no longer okay in front of our children. It's not okay with the children. Agreement or not, facilities or not, we don't argue in front of kids. If I have an argument with my husband, I text him, I tell him, check your text. How you doing, Ben? You know, we try our best. It's not perfect every day, but for the most part, boardrooms and courtrooms, this is the place to do this. Thank you for letting me share.
Stephen, I'm sorry I didn't catch you, but we're not having people sit at Emily's desk.
Oh, that's okay, sorry.
No. I just wanted to say thank you. You know, there has been a lot of heat in the community, and I'm glad that my kids have some place to go where I know the adults share my values about what is appropriate behavior around children, the values around, you know, how to deal with conflict and how to model that in a respectful way. I mean, aside from the fact that I know, you know, my child wasn't thriving at a district school and is now doing so much better. And now will be academically prepared for middle school, which was not the track he was on in the K-5 program at Manor. I'm just grateful for the people in this community, and I'm grateful for the love that this community has for each other and how that's what we surround the kids with. And so I just want you all to know that I'm great every day. I'm grateful for all of you.
Hear, hear.
Thank you
I
very
second and third that with my 2 kids.
Anyone else?
Well, maybe just one point, that when the Ross Valley School District put RVC proposal together, it was for, I think, 210 students. And so I don't see why there should be so much anger and back and forth when we're only filling a small portion of that, or 140 to 160, when it seems like the anger is misdirected towards RVC, where the question should be go to the district. Just like you said, 210 kids are going to be able to fit in this school. So here we are less, but everybody still has directing the anger to RVC, where I think it's somewhat misdirected. The big question should be asking the district, you told us we could fit, so why are we put on the line here? So that's it.
Anyone else? Okay, we will close our open.
Sure, and I want to make a comment, a response to those who don't want us here.